The Gospel according to St. Luke, chapter 23, verse 34. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. In one of the most profound moments of human history, as Jesus hung upon the cross, suffering unjustly at the hands of men, he uttered words that transcends time and space. Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. These words encapsulate the heart of Christ's mission: compassion in the face of cruelty, love in the face of hatred, even at the pinnacle of his pain. He didn't curse his oppressors, nor did he seek retribution. Instead, he prayed for them. Forgive them, he said, not because they deserved forgiveness, but because mercy was his message. How often in our daily lives do we encounter situations where forgiveness seems impossible? Perhaps someone has wronged us, betrayed our trust, or caused us harm. In those moments, our natural inclination might be to seek justice or worse, revenge. Yet, Jesus models a different response. He calls us not to harbor resentment, but to seek peace through forgiveness. When we forgive, we free ourselves from the chains of anger and bitterness. Jesus understood this deeply and implored his Father to release even his executioner from the weight of their ignorance. The power of forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't about condoning wrong behaviors. It's about acknowledging our shared humanity, our collective fallibility. We are all flawed, capable of mistakes, and sometimes, like those soldiers at the cross, we act out of ignorance or fear. But forgiveness bridges that gap. It connects the divine with the mortal, offering a pathway to healing and redemption. When Jesus said, "For they do not know what they are doing," he recognized that their hearts were clouded by misunderstanding, fear, and the influence of the world that hadn't yet fully grasped the depth of God's love. In this way, Jesus' prayer was not only for the Roman soldiers or the Pharisees, but for all of humanity. He spoke for us, for the times we've hurt others unknowingly, and for the times we are unaware of the true impact of our nations. St. Matthew's chapter 5, verse 43 and 45. Love your enemies. To further elaborate on Jesus' teaching about forgiveness, we turn to another vital passage from Matthew chapter 5, 43-45, where Jesus challenges us with words that are as radical today as they were over 2,000 years ago. You have heard that it was said, "You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy." But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you, so that you may be children of your Father in heaven. For he makes his sun rise on the evil and on the good, and sends rain on the righteous and on the unrighteous. Here, Jesus flips the common understanding of justice and relationship on its head. Love your enemies. Pray for those who hurt you. This goes beyond any natural human reaction. We are called to love not just those who love us, but those who oppose us. Why? Because this is the nature of God's love. What is radical love? God's love is unconditional. He sends sunshine and rain to both the just and the unjust. His grace is poured out on all humanity, regardless of whether we deserve it. This is the standard that Christ calls us to follow. An all encompassing love that reaches beyond the limits of our human logic and fairness. When we love our enemies, we reflect God's character. We transcend the cycle of hatred, retaliation, and instead become instrument of peace, forgiveness, and love for those who have hurt us is not a sign of weakness, but a profound expression of strength, rooted in the belief that love can transform even the hardest hearts. What reward is there in loving only those who love you? Jesus asked an important question in St. Matthew chapter 5 verse 46. For if you love those who love you, what reward do you have? It's easy to love people who treat us kindly, but there's no challenge, no growth in that. The true test of love is in how we treat those who oppose us. How do we respond to the unkind neighbor, the difficult colleague, or the person who has wronged us? Jesus doesn't just give us an ideal to strive for. He gives us a roadmap for living out our faith. Loving our enemies doesn't mean we have to approve of their actions. It means we recognize their humanity and extend grace where it's least expected. It means we pray for their well-being even when they wish us harm. What application we have in our lives? Forgiveness and love are difficult practices, yet they are central to the Christian faith. Each day, we are faced with opportunities to live out these teachings. Perhaps it's family member with whom we've had a falling out, or a friend who has betrayed our trust. These are crosses to bear, our moments to echo Jesus' words, Father, forgive them. We are not called to carry the burden of hatred or to keep brackets of wrongs. Instead, Jesus invites us to lay down these burdens at the foot of the cross, trusting that God's love and justice will prevail. In our modern world, where division and animosity seems to be at every corner, this message of forgiveness is more vital than ever. We are bombarded with reasons to separate ourselves from others, to categorize people as friends or enemies. But Jesus calls us to break down those barriers, to see every person as a beloved child of God, and to love them as He loves us.